Are we live?
I think we are live.
Fantastic.
Hey, you're finally back next to me. It's been the 2 weeks.
Has it been 2 weeks?
Yeah, so last week you're unfortunately away, and then the week before that you're in Canberra.
I was in Canberra.
But you got a surprise for me this week.
Yes, I do. I was while I was away, I went on a mystic journey. Was traveling through some forests, some glades, and I found this fairy, and I made a few wishes, and suddenly we have this wizard with us today. This is my wish come true. A wizard. This is my brother Max, yes. So we have brought him in today to get a Zoomer's point of view. Generation Z, represent. Am I right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
Max is in high school. We've got a lot of interesting tech questions. If you have questions that you want asked, please chuck them in the chat. We're going to do a quick wrap up of
Current events. What are you thinking?
And also, you might be able to see, this is not a gigantic microphone. We've got a microphone very close to the camera, and Max is just behind it. There we go. So, Max, do you want to do?
Looks like you're mini, like you're just mini. If you want to move forward a little bit, you can. Yeah.
Squeeze
Because
in.
we're a bit tall anyway.
We're sitting in like a horseshoe. Okay, so Max, what do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself? What you're interested in? What you're studying?
Well, I'm Max. I like creative stuff. I like music. I create music. I like film. I really like film, so I've been looking into that. Photography. At school, I study photography. Photography and music as my electives. But then just generally, anything, just the general stuff.
What do you So when I was in high school, we did some photography doing black and white film. Do you still get to use darkrooms?
We haven't used darkrooms yet, but possibly we might be able to do that.
What do you generally do when you're studying photography? Do you go out and take photos, or?
We do a lot. Yeah, we do a lot of excursions because where my school is, I won't say, but it's near the city area, and so we get to do a lot of excursions out in different parts of the city, which is cool. So we'll just take photos there, and when we're not...
do you take photos on your phone, or do you use a camera?
We've got a number of... they're the same model camera. They're Canons, and we'll go around and we'll just take a lot of photos. And when we're not doing that, we'll talk about different like techniques or just different styles of photography.
So it's all digital? You
Yeah.
go back and you process it in your Adobe. Do you use Adobe?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, let's pause for a second. Max, are you going to speak a little bit louder? Thank you, Emily, for pointing that out. We appreciate it. Also, hi, David. Hi, Eden. Nice to see you again. Emily, I love your first comment. So, Max, you've had your first question. Do you want to read it out?
What do I think of the Luna Park ghost train fire of 1979? I've heard of it. I don't know a lot about what happened, but I know not a lot of good. I think I saw there's some sort of documentary they're doing on ABC about there was some secret force behind this, so I'm not sure, but I haven't
controversial.
Haven't heard a lot about it, but I know it wasn't good, so I mean.
So there's the one interesting thing that happened with respect to the ghost train fires. No one was really responsible, right? Some people died, some workers, and no one got held accountable. And one of the reasons for this was that around this time there was a lot of corruption in the police force in Sydney, and some new evidence just came out that we've worked out which corrupt cops were probably involved, and I think some people might be testifying. Now, the same corrupt cop, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, was involved in murdering another police officer near Sydney University on Cleveland Street.
Okay.
And they took him behind a building and they shot him. And his name was Officer Lanfranchi. He refused to take a bribe, so they shot him. And I went to a very fun warehouse venue called Lanfranchi's Memorial Discotheque that was in the same building.
To commemorate him via discotheque, right?
It was very cool. It
No
was
better way.
it was an open art place, and it was
Yeah.
like you pay $5 and you go along and you see like skit shows and you know, people from Chasers and stuff would always come along, and it was very 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 cool. But I was like had an unusual name, Land Franchise. Why was it called that? Corrupt Cop.
The history behind the party.
Cop. Yeah, history behind that.
Yep.
Have you been to Luna Park?
I have, I think only twice. But
What were you doing in April 1979?
Where were you, Max?
I was about like minus. I don't know how old. I was just chilling out.
Oh, I feel
existing.
old. I was only like what -6, -5.
Yeah.
What age are you? -5. So that's so
Oh.
funny. It's making me cackle.
Interesting one.
Stephen Cruchin.
So, shout out to Stephen. Stephen's
Stevie.
a very cool guy. He commented today about some cryptocurrency. What do you think about Dogecoin and Bitcoin in general? So, what do you know about the price of Doge at the moment?
I've heard a bit about Doge, but I'm not actually sure about the price and stuff. I haven't been really kind of engaged in all that stuff because I don't understand it.
Do any people your age trade any crypto? Have you heard about any of them buying any cryptocurrency?
I think there are some kids, maybe a bit older or around my age, that do that. But I haven't. I want to get into it, but I don't understand it, so I'm not sure.
Most of the people who are buying and selling it don't understand it either, and that's why Doge is worth a fortune.
Right. And how old do you think people are who buy Doge? Just in question, like.
Well,
I think like 30s, like
Did I-
late 20s.
did I talk about this on the feed before? I met the creator of Doge,
Oh, I think you have.
Yeah.
Remind us.
Jackson Palmer, over in San Francisco.
Yeah.
He runs a crypto meetup, and he founded Doge, and he thinks Doge is stupid. So he gave away 400,000 Doge
Yes.
to charity, right? Because he's
Wow.
like, Doge is dumb. And it is. It's dumb. If any of your friends want to buy Doge, tell them that they're stupid. Not as an investment.
Reddit
because-
will be mad at you for saying this.
Well, it's not meant to be invested in. That's the crazy thing, right?
Yeah, right.
It's meant to be spent. It's like investing. Imagine if I said, like, I'm going to, something I'll probably say, I'm going to invest in bananas. I'm going to be a fortune. I'm going to buy the world's supply of bananas,
Yeah.
right? And everyone's going to have to buy them off me. Well, that's good. Except there's an unlimited supply of bananas and they go off. Which is pretty much exactly the same as Doge. There's an unlimited supply of it, and it's not worth anything if you hold on to it. It's only ever going to decrease in value.
Yeah. I feel like the main place you'd see Doge is just within meme culture, just within like TikToks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think of Facebook?
Facebook.
Is that for old people?
Look.
Do you have a Facebook?
No, I don't.
Really?
That says everything.
Do you have a TikTok?
I do have TikTok.
Do you have a Messenger? Facebook Messenger?
I don't think.
How do you communicate with your friends if you want to send them a message?
Usually Instagram.
Oh. Do you Signal?
No.
Telegram?
No.
Wicker?
No.
Interesting.
So you've heard it here, guys. Instagram and TikTok.
So
Right.
you use the instant messaging function with it. Is that how you generally communicate with friends?
Usually I'll just text them through the general message.
SMS?
I think
The shock on your face. SMS.
I'm not sure what's it.
We've gone backwards as a society.
Why is SMS backwards?
So
It's not using dot like.
what? Okay, there's a rule that we kind of follow, right? As time progresses, as society goes on, we tend towards. Hey, Harry. Harry is a blockchain king. So if we have any questions, we're going to ask Harry. Basically, as technology progresses, we go to higher bandwidth, lower energy technologies. So, to give you an example, what's a really high energy, low bandwidth technology? Radio,
Huh.
right? We just beam light out across the planet, and then your radio picks up that tiny little bit of light and then amplifies it into the sound we hear, right? It takes the frequency of the light and it's a sound wave, basically.
Yeah.
Transmitted as light. But it's crazy waste of power, right? But when, I was just asking about encrypted messenger apps. I'm really interested.
How many 14-year-olds use encrypted messenger apps?
Now what's interesting is when time progresses, we go from like radio to phone calls to internet, and then instead of using a modem, we go into ADSL, and now we use fiber optic, right? And basically what happens is, instead of a phone line just taking, you know, a voice signal, now you could run 500 voice signals all at the same time on the same phone line, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But SMS is actually a less efficient technology than a messenger app.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting to see that we're actually, in some respects, we go backwards instead of forwards. We always think that we're always pushing towards
I mean,
this.
think about it. Like, if I want to message you on Facebook Messenger, you've got to have the same app. Whereas SMS applies across. Like, you don't need to have the app to send or receive
That's
an
right.
SMS. So that
There's
makes sense. Yeah.
Cross compatibility issues.
Yeah.
I think I have actually. I think I have started using Facebook Messenger. Quite recently.
Because Instagram's owned by Facebook, so they allow for the same thing.
Let's jump into the comments.
I just wanted to answer one of the comments earlier. If we go down this
We can't go down.
We can't go down. We can't go back.
What was the question?
I think it was about.
Another question from Max was about segregation in schools. Was that from Emily?
Oh, was it?
That one?
Yeah, is I think it was about segregation.
I don't think there's actually a.
Okay, another question.
Does your school segregate children for being
Different, I think.
different? Okay.
My school isn't single sex. It's boys and girls. My school is quite diverse. Although, I mean, diverse for Australia, kind of really like usually in schools, I've found that it's usually a lot of like white kids, but we do have different cultures. We've got not different but like we've got more. It's a more diverse cultures in our school. I mean, I think we have some Chinese students, like not as in like of Chinese descent. They've come from China.
The international students, right?
International students. So, yeah, and we get to. I mean, for most high schools, I guess, but we do learn. Like I learn Chinese at my school.
Can you say something in Chinese? What's your favorite saying?
I don't think I have a favorite.
Guess what
saying.
my favorite is?
What?
Han fan bien.
Oh, you're getting so good,
I
Meow.
said it to the cab driver and he laughed, so he understood.
Yeah,
Han
he
fan
got
bien.
it. Yes. I'm so proud, guys. I taught Meow this in like our very first stream. It means very convenient, which is something that Chinese people like to say about different things as to say that they like it. Oh, it's so convenient. So hen fang bien. So I'm so proud of you, Meow.
So what Emily's asking is, do they separate people for having a disability? And this doesn't necessarily mean it impacts their learning ability. So it could be that they have a learning disability, or they communication disability.
Yeah.
Could mean they vote Liberal. It could mean all sorts of things, really. So
Right. Yeah.
do you have like a special group and like for smart or different?
Like a neurodiverse group.
I think we do have a special education center.
Special education center.
I'm not absolutely sure because at our school we haven't really not like learning
Not like learning disability. So even if that disability does not impact their learning ability, so like, I don't know, they're missing a leg.
Well,
Light sensitivity, interesting.
Light
actually,
sensitivity.
well, there may be, but in my experience, usually I haven't encountered anybody that's had a disability that doesn't impact their learning, but I'm not sure. Maybe
That might be a good thing because they haven't been separated, so you don't even know. So everyone's being treated the same and treated normally. That sounds good.
We had special groups for the smart kids.
Oh.
Differently abled, we'll say.
Differently able.
Yeah. So I was in the nerd group.
Yeah.
They took 2 of us, and then they took 10 of us, and they made us run the school's intranet. That was our punishment for being smart.
Oh my gosh, they gave you IT duty because
So
you're
I
smart.
rebelled.
You rebelled. You
Yeah.
rebel against everything.
I did.
Name one thing Meow has not rebelled against.
Yeah.
I love it.
It was
Great.
good. It was good.
Yeah. And let's just jump back for a second. So, Eden, I enjoyed your comment earlier about cryptocurrency. You were trading in high school. That's awesome. That sounds like a very you thing. And just for anyone new
I think you
jumping
need to
in,
NFT your artworks.
for real, Max is an artist.
Upload them to the blockchain.
So NFT, fungible
Yeah.
tokens. And these are digital assets that you can put on.
Now, do you do music as well?
Yeah.
What type of music do you like?
I like a number of music. I like sort of jazz.
Yeah?
Jazz, R&B. I mean, like modern. I really like modern jazz sort of projects. I like alternative.
How do you listen to your music?
Like.
Do you use an app?
I usually listen through an app. But I mean, I'd like to get some sort of, I think, a record player.
Yeah. Records are good. Records are bizarre. Have you seen how they work?
It's so weird.
They're so weird, right? Old technology, the older it is, the crazier it is.
Yeah.
Like, how the fuck does a cassette tape work? Do you know what cassette is made from?
Oh, it's the tape,
It's
right?
made from cellophane, cellulose, right?
Oh,
So you get a
cellophane.
tree
Yeah.
and you bash the leaves and then you make a film out of it, right? And you
Right.
wrap that around a little axle.
Mm-hmm.
How do you put the sound on there? Fucking magnets.
Oh, no way.
What
Through
the hell?
magnets.
Magnets.
That's amazing.
Magnets. We were talking about magnets
Human
with Bill
minds.
last week with James.
Samira says, hi, Meow. I met you through the Sydney scene and Goldfish George. What's up, Sydney scene people?
Hey.
Throw it to Meow.
And tape is real cool. So I reckon tape is ready to make a comeback. What do you reckon? What's your prediction? What obsolete technology are you waiting to see? You said vinyl is going to make a comeback?
Well, it's kind of maybe as just sort of like a retro thing that people are doing. I mean, a lot of kids my age are collecting vinyls, even if they don't have a record player,
Really?
just to put it in their room as like an
To
aesthetic
be cool.
thing.
Aesthetic.
You should print a vinyl. You know they're actually really cheap. You can make a vinyl $40.
Oh, through 3D printing.
Yeah.
That's cool. Animal Gear in general is just dope, totally.
Yeah.
And guys, if you're jumping on now, this is my brother Max. He is Gen Z. If you want a hot take on something, you know, that the Zoomers experience, let us know. Shall we jump into, we wanted to talk about, and I wanted to get Max's opinion on this, especially, guys, in Australia, recently, the government paid for this consent video, which is now being called the milkshake consent video. And it's just been, like, everyone seems to hate it. Have you seen the video? If not, you can.
The video?
Yes, I saw the video today.
I showed Max today. So it hasn't yet been released in schools, but the media got a hold of it, and it's just basically meant to teach, you know, high school students about consent and sex. So I showed Max before
do
today.
drip check and sheesh?
Do you know what he's talking about?
Yes.
You got the lingo?
What is drip check and sheesh?
We're out of the loop. I know what,
No,
I
what
know,
is it?
I know what he's talking about. Do you want to educate?
Yeah, this is important. This is
Educate
more
the sister?
important.
Well, drip check is basically, it's like checking your drip, which is like your style and
Your drip, your style, okay.
and then
Yeah.
sheesh
Fresh.
is just a stupid thing people do where they put their finger to
Oh,
their
I know
arm
what that is.
and
That's,
then say sheesh.
Can I say, as a millennial?
Yeah, do it.
So this is like, there's ice in my veins.
No, they do.
There's ice in my veins, right? It means like you're really cool. Do you know what it means?
Not really.
Because I'm like old and I have to figure it out, I googled it and I found the origin. So basically it's like there was some like basketball player or something in America started doing it, and now it's caught on as a trend, and he was like, there's ice in my veins, like I'm that tough.
Not
like,
methamphetamine shot up mainline.
No.
No, okay. Well,
So, but it means cool, right?
Yeah, or I think people just do it now for just
clout.
for the hell of it.
For
Yeah.
clout, right?
For clout.
I don't actually do it, but there are a lot
Max wakes up and he
So,
does it.
What happens is, Max, one day you'll start doing it ironically, and then a little bit later, you won't do it ironically anymore, but you won't know where that line is. You'll cross it, and all of a sudden, you will start sheeshing.
You'll start sheeshing.
You'll be MC Sheesh. You'll be rapping it out.
I love yeeting. I love the concept of yeeting.
Emily has a mission for you, Max.
Alright.
Next time you're at school, try to make time to ask some of the kids if they're in a special learning unit, if they like being there. If they don't like being there, ask them why and ask them what they've tried to do about it. She wants to hear about it. So we're going to have to get you in for a second guest segment.
Yeah.
See if you can find any students in there. Maybe even ask your teacher if there's a special learning unit.
Well, I think that there was one of my friends. He's not sure if he's in one, but I think for different subjects they have it, not just for mental disability, but just generally challenged with that subject. And I'm not sure if he's in it, but he's told me that they take them into like a room where they'll do it, but there's only like a few kids, and he says that like the maths they do is really easy. So I'm not sure if that is or not, but
yeah, maybe it is.
He thinks that he may be in, but I'm not sure. So
Zoom and meme review.
We need a Zoom and meme review. We totally do. Do you guys want to link us some memes you like, and then get like, because obviously like we were just talking about drop check and sheesh, and I was offering my view, and like you can see Max, he knows what's cool, and he's like So let's do that. That sounds great.
Sheesh has been. I think sheesh is.
He knows what's overdone.
It's near the end.
Is it cringy?
It's about to. I think.
What's the opposite of cringe?
I think it's been used so much that it gets
Sheeshing or cringe?
Sheeshing, that it gets. I feel it's gonna.
Is based the opposite of cringe?
I'm not sure.
I think it is. Today I heard that based is the opposite of cringe. What's your favourite meme at the moment?
I don't think. I'm not sure about what memes there are.
I made a meme today. Let's have a look.
Yeah, let's check it out.
I know that they've been doing the sheesh thing, like they've been doing at school. I mean, more in Australia, you get kids like yelling out "eshe" in the sort of like the "eshe" lad, and it gets so annoying. Like I'll be coming to school, I'll put my bag in my locker, and you'll hear sheesh or
really? People just
like
yell it out.
"eshe," and it's just It was funny to start off with, but it just gets annoying after a while.
Now, it will be the defining characteristic of your generation. It won't even, seriously, whatever you find most cringe about your generation will be the defining characteristic. In the 80s, it was those stupid fluffy leg warmers and the shoulder pads.
Yes!
Everyone's like, oh, cringe.
So
now
true.
they become the defining thing. I don't know what the cringe of the 90s was. Probably those parachute pants that I still wear.
I think, yes, you do.
Right.
Every week you can't see, but Meow's wearing the parachute pants. But I think low cut pants, definitely 90s theme.
And for the Zoomers, they're not gonna be called Zoomers. You know, in 2050, my prediction, Generation Sheesh.
Gen Sheesh.
Gen Sheesh.
And Eden's in America, right? Am I right?
No, Eden's in Australia.
Oh, you're in Australia. Okay, I was gonna say, like, do we need to explain what eshays is to anyone overseas?
Nah, they can all go do their own homework.
Okay, go to what's it called? That website? The Urban Dictionary. Nice guys. I love to see you also chatting together in the comments, not necessarily to us. That's awesome. Do that.
All my
That's
memes,
cool.
all my memes are crap. Oh, now speaking of education, we actually have an education topic we wanted to talk about this week, which you've recently been through NAPLAN testing.
Well, not yet, but we're about to do.
Okay, so
Move close up.
Oh,
okay.
sorry.
NAPLAN testing. So when I'm a bit older, I'm like triple your age. Yeah, unfortunately. Fuck. No, not yet. I'm 36. So.
And I'm 21.
Oh, we got like a good. So. I had like some sort of standardized testing, and I fucking hated it. I actually objected, and I just wrote "go fuck yourself" on all of the things, and I left. I didn't do it. I refused to.
Wow.
I got put in the lowest band.
How do you like? I would be so scared to do that in high school, but you just have this rebellious personality.
I was smarter than the teacher, which is not saying much.
So just this question, like, just for me, like, I'd be so scared. Like, so what? You weren't scared that you would get in trouble or something, like, or you disappoint your parents, something like that?
I was I was really good in primary school, right?
Yeah.
I followed all the rules until I found out that following all the rules is actually a bad thing.
You discovered that early.
I got beaten up by a kid,
Oh.
and he tried to kill me. Actually, he got expelled the week later for pulling a knife on another kid in year 3.
Wow.
And they teachers said, don't ever fight back if you're in a fight. I didn't fight back. And everyone, including the teachers after that, said you're an idiot. You could have died. You should have fought back.
Wow.
And then I realised maybe the teachers don't have my best interests at heart. Then I decided I'm not going to follow the rules anymore, and my life got pretty good ever since then.
Fair enough. All right, sorry. Let's jump back into. Wait, hold on.
I do know there was a kid at my school who, when he was in year 6, I went to I don't go there anymore. Can I say it?
Yeah.
At South Coogee Public School, because I'm in high school now. But I think there was a kid who got expelled because he brought 2 butcher's knives in his bag, and yeah, I just.
Did he have cooking class?
No.
Expelled.
He just brought them generally, just like these really sharp.
Yeah, probably not such a great idea.
People do it for cloud, I guess. Are Tarzan still cool, by the way? What do kids play at recess lunch these days? I feel like maybe that's more for primary school though. Well, what do kids play in high school?
Like during recess and lunch.
Yeah.
Well, I think at my school, people generally will just play basketball or that stuff. I know there's usually a group of kids that will play basketball, then another group of kids a younger group of kids that will play soccer. And then there's a part which kids play handball, but usually I'll just sit around, maybe play some handball, but we don't.
Are you allowed to use your phones at lunchtimes and recess?
No, we.
What?
I mean, like.
You smuggle it. You smuggle it though, right? You go to the bathrooms and you're like.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean,
Yes.
Fuck.
Sheesh.
Sheesh.
Like, but. One of the it got such a problem about kids about I mean it still happens, but kids going just staying in the bathrooms at lunch and recess on their phones. One kid got gastro because he was just in there all the time. Like
I would deliberately give myself gastro. I couldn't imagine how do you exist without using your phone all day? I would die.
No, but you can imagine kids wouldn't be able to stop. I know kids are still into Pokemon cards.
Do kids still play Pokemon cards?
It's become cool again on TikTok, right? Collecting cards.
I think so. I know that Pokemon cards were like a really big thing in year 3. When I was in year 3, I have still my friend, but he went through like a super huge Pokemon phase. I think everybody did, and I think I started collecting Pokemon cards, and I actually tried watching the Pokemon TV series back then. For some reason, I just didn't get into it.
You know why?
Why?
Because the Pokemon and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series are explicitly designed to sell merchandise that doesn't exist anymore. Ooh. So it's tricky because the merchandise isn't coming out with the show. It's like a series lost in time.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, now, in the space of the stream, how do we get to question the schooling system as a relic of the industrial era designed to manufacture conformist and obedient workers? Okay, what do you think about school? Like, you go to school, you're not allowed to use your phone. What are your general perspectives on it? What do you like? What does work? What doesn't work?
Well, at my school, we have MYP grading.
What's MYP grading?
MYP basically, so it's not like the usual A, B, C, D, E, F. We have, instead of ranking against each other, they just rank on the level of what we can do. Like we'll have different ranks. So from 7 to 8, 5, 6, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, and basically.
I'm glad they started 0, by the way. That's good.
Well, 0 is nothing, so it's impossible to.
0 is nothing.
Oh, like the student.
I thought 0 would be highest.
No, 0 is like student has failed to complete the task,
okay.
So doing absolutely nothing. So unless you're doing NA, it's absolutely impossible to get a 0. But basically, it's not ranking you against the average of other kids, but they've got
it's not competitive. It's basically looking at. So if you can, if there's a table that's a meter high, everyone that can jump a meter high gets a 6 or whatever.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So basically, they'll have they'll write for like 1 to student is able to use little to no mathematical terminology when doing that, or something like that, where it's the levels. It's not about the like comparing to other students. It's just what.
Do you think it's better?
I think it is better because it's it's about like what you can and can't do, like in like you like it you could because sorry in different areas like you can be good at one area of the assessment, as in maybe like.
But it doesn't actually test everything that you can do. Because my problem with testing, right, is that almost all testing tests for lack of knowledge, not ability, right? So say for example, if they already have questions that they've set out, like the student can communicate using mathematical terminology, right? What about if you can communicate very well in a conversation using mathematics, but you can't do it written, right? What it does is it actually just it tests what you don't know. Almost all schooling, even university is the worst for it, right? They do multiple choice testing. All these things only test what you don't know. I think the only way to truly get it to work is through interviewing someone, right? Like your teacher going, you know what? I know Max is very good at explaining to other students his mathematical ability. So in at the end of semester, I'm just going to put the marks down where they should be, rather than some auditable system that makes no sense. That's my perspective. You're about to do NAPLAN though, which is different.
Yeah. Well,
so you've got some thoughts on NAPLAN. Lay them down.
I think NAPLAN is it's a bit flawed. What do you
not like about it? What's flawed?
Well, it's just the fact that the pressure it puts on kids, like, and the way that they give the marks back, and it's like it's like ranking you with all the other kids that do it, and it's basically just you're like it'll show where you are on the scale, average, above average, below average, and like to those kids that get below average, like it doesn't tell you really how you can improve in your thing, and in your studies.
Do you think the kids that score better are going to have better jobs or a better quality of life?
That score better, not necessarily. It's just I think it's just a thing to show that the schools are doing well academically. But for those kids that are below average, all it's telling you is that you're unintelligent, which is completely bullshit. And it's just it's like
Matt just suggested something as well, that standardized testing also inevitably has biases too. So you said there were some international students, they might score more poorly because they don't speak the language, even though they might be very, very intelligent. So a lot of IQ tests, for example, are written by old white men. So a lot of the questions they're asking culturally and as a matter of a way of thinking are like designed to test for that kind of intelligence. But we know there's other types of intelligence too. Like how do you actually rank a piece of art?
Yeah.
Like I actually have issues with slam poetry because it's competitive poetry.
Yeah.
That doesn't have to be a winner. We can just appreciate all these pieces of poetry as beautiful creative works in their own right without ever having to have a winner.
Love that. NAPLAN got screwed. It was never meant to be about the kids. So Mira, can you tell us some more about that? Oh, is it because it's meant to be about the schools and their rating system? And Eden says it is an unnecessarily stressful experience.
Would you second that? Would you say that even now, before it started, it's stressful?
Yeah, it's always been very stressful. I've always hated NAPLAN, and the thing is, I dread getting the results back because the amount of times that I've gotten, like usually I'm not the greatest at maths. I mean, I'm not bad. I'm actually surprised because I got into the extension maths group this year, but usually maths isn't my strong point, and so when I got a bit below average, it completely ruined my self-esteem.
Really?
And so yeah, because I just felt like an idiot, and I'm not an idiot. I'm strong in different areas, but just because I might not be the best in maths doesn't mean that like I'm gonna fail in life.
I think you should unionize the students. Do a Greta Thunberg, and all the students get together and say that you refuse to participate in NAPLAN testing because of the psychological impact it has on the children. People, not children, people. You're young adults.
Meow will shadow write for you, and you can be called Sheesh Union.
And accept all your funding in Doge. You'll make a fortune. You'll actually make a fortune.
So I used to work for the section who created NAPLAN. Its original form was way out of there. And Harry says, no one is good at math. There's just people who practice it more.
Yeah, that's what my maths teacher says. That when he was my age, he was about at our level, but every day he studies maths religiously.
Yeah.
Like one of the things he says is that when you're watching TV or eating dinner, do some maths. And I mean, I can never get around to doing that because I just can't be bothered. But I mean, I have been doing a lot more maths.
What is maths? Because I'm interested to.
I think, well, the maths that we do at my school is just we go through like about 3 different topics in a week, and the homework that we're given is we'll do like a whole section of textbook work, which is for some kids it's easy, for some others it's not. But I have learnt a lot more in this maths class because although we do get a lot of work, my teacher seems to he's really he's good at conveying like what he means when he's explaining the subject. I'm not.
It's very lucky to have a good mathematical teacher. So I had a maths teacher in year 10. I'm just gonna quickly screenshot this in case I missed the thing. In year 10, I had a mathematics teacher. Her name was Judy Talbot. She was amazing. We got taught real maths in year 10.
Real maths.
Real maths.
Tax maths? What are you talking about?
No, fuck that shit. honestly, I don't know.
What's real maths?
Real maths. What mathematics is really about. So, at the first 15 minutes of every hour-long class, hour to 2 hour class, we did cryptic crosswords.
Ooh.
For mathematics. Because she said it developed our abstract reasoning.
And the cryptic crosswords they're the really difficult crosswords that still using words.
But you use a process and a very complicated way of arriving at the answer. So there's different classes of cryptic clues.
Okay.
And a good one, a very easy example of a cryptic crossword. The clue is a mean way to end a prayer.
A mean way, a cruel way to end a prayer.
No, a mean way.
Oh,
very important.
Oh, it's a mean way. It's not.
4 letters.
Mean is in average?
So that would be a very good way of thinking about a cryptic clue. How do you end a prayer?
Amen.
And what's an anagram of mean? Amen.
Amen.
So that's just there's many different styles of clue, and that's one very easy example where you can take one of the words, you can rearrange the letters, and that's the answer. So the answer is hidden somewhere in the clue. But then otherwise you could think about different meanings of words. So if you say Romans, and then you have a number, you might take that number like 50 and turn it into Roman numeral, and that would be like an L, and then that would be a letter of the clue. So you have to think about it in different ways. Another thing, we got homework to do things like research the calendar. And by researching the calendar, we learn about why people invented maths in the first place. Like, we don't use maths a lot directly in our day-to-day lives. But like things like our phone, this entire thing runs on mathematics, right? Runs on logic and programs. Programs are mathematical formulae. Anyway, I'm not going to rant on about that. So I had a very good teacher, and she shaped the reason I love maths, but I'm terrible at it.
I love that. That's so
Love
cool.
We used to go to an after school group, and we'd play games, and we'd learn game theory. Really interesting.
Game theory.
Lots of chocolate.
So cool.
Yeah. Okay. Now Nathan would have said that ranked competition is very good if you're in the top bracket, but for everybody else it kind of sucks. And also we had Closed Eyes Open said that when they were in school, their student representative council actually dismantled NAPLAN testing, which is exciting.
That's sick. Good on you.
Maths as a language is divine. It's a beautiful way of communicating.
Lovely.
We can communicate not just with humans, but we may be able to communicate with aliens using mathematics.
Well, maths is like the nature of the universe. I mean, it's how we calculate how far away planets are, how gravity works.
One of the ways
is divine. I love that.
One of the ways that we think about communicating with aliens is by sending prime numbers, because prime numbers are actually the same in every base, in every language. Really, I found that fascinating.
So cool. So it's like we're intelligent life. Here are some prime numbers being beamed out to the universe. Capture them and follow us.
One thing I'm wondering about, like talking about aliens is, do you reckon the reason aliens haven't you haven't come in contact with aliens is, I mean, obviously they have to exist because if the universe is as large as it is, I mean there are multiple universes, I think, but maybe
I think
sure.
there's multiple universes.
But maybe it's just I guess one of the things could be that aliens just know that humans, maybe they see us as like the dummies of other life. The other life. So
it could be. So one of this theory is broadly is called the Great Filter. Oh no, actually, is it the Great Filter? It might be something else. Correct me if I'm wrong. Oh, Stephen's not here, so I can get away with lots. Okay, so there's some theories that we've been isolated from the rest of the universe, but there's a whole heap. So there's a very so I've studied astrobiology at university, like looking how do we look for aliens.
Astrobiology.
And one of the foundations, so one of the foundations is the Drake equation. So there was it was a great filter. Yeah, so basically there's the benefit of here, if we don't know something, we can get the audience to check, which is awesome. We're very lucky. So basically there's all these theories, Drake equation basically says if we think Earth isn't unusual, it's called the mediocrity principle, right? We're a very ordinary planet in a very ordinary solar system, in a very ordinary galaxy, in a very ordinary universe. But we'll just take just our universe and we try and look at like, okay, well if that's the case, we know how many stars there are in our galaxy. We can work out how many of them we think have planets and how many planets in each solar system are capable of supporting life. And we can just basically start adding up, do some back of the envelope calculations, right? Turns out there should be life everywhere, right? So that's called the Drake equation. Basically, how many so it says how many planets are capable of supporting life around each star, how many of those give rise to complex life, and then how many of those give rise to intelligent life. And intelligent life is the one that can communicate.
Ooh, and complex life is what?
Things bigger than bacteria.
Yep.
Because bacteria could be kind of everywhere.
Yeah.
But to have things for the first 2 billion years of life on Earth, there was just bacteria.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, in less than 1 billion years, there was everything else. Like there was dinosaurs, plants.
But is there bacteria on other planets?
We don't know yet. Is there? Very likely. Is there intelligent life on other planets? Almost guaranteed. But the question is, the next thing that comes after the Drake equation is called the Fermi paradox. Okay, if we accept the Drake equation, and there's life everywhere, why haven't we heard from it?
Yeah.
And that is the Fermi paradox, right? If life is everywhere and it's so common and we're not unusual, why aren't we being bombarded with radio signals from all of these living planets, right? It means there's something we don't understand, and that's the paradox. So we think, okay, so it could be the Great Filter, we could be isolated. It could be that we're the first, because we're relatively young, right?
Yeah.
It could be that...
Imagine humans being the first intelligent civilization.
Yeah.
What a joke. But so funny.
Could be that most civilizations wipe themselves out with nuclear bombs or equivalent before they get started. There's a whole heap of things.
We haven't yet.
I like to think we're the first, because somebody has to be the first. And they're going to say, where is everyone?
Yeah.
And then they're going to be like, oh no! Everyone, we died before we got it, and we're going to be like the ancient Egyptians of the alien races.
This comment. Zoom is on Mars searching for bacteria. Shishing.
Playing vinyl. It's going to be a beautiful future. Now, do you learn to code at school?
I think coding. I think you can do coding courses at school. I mean, it's not a compulsory thing.
But it's interesting because you kind of like my dad. His job, when his first ever job, computer operator. That was his job. Operate a computer, but now we all operate computers, right?
Oh wait, so he wasn't like engineering a computer. It was
well,
like
it was because back then operating a computer was a lot more difficult than it is now, right? But the thing is now everybody's a computer operator. So it's interesting because you use programs like what programs would you use just in photography? You use computer programs. When I did photography, we didn't. Computers were used in other things, but we didn't use computers at all. Digital photography actually didn't exist when I did photography. It was just about to start. So digital cameras came out when I was in year 9. like to the point that I could get a digital camera, right? But you use programs when you do photography. Do you use programs in music?
We generally just use a GarageBand, I think.
Oh,
But
okay, yeah.
can I just say, can you talk about what you personally use to make music?
I started using Logic for music, but then recently I've started using FL Studio for my music, which is
And what music have you been making?
I don't know how it's kind of like it's more in the jazz lean area. I mean, it's not full like classic jazz. Like it's like a mix of alternative
Sort of
jazz.
R&B, and we're also entering a song into the Triple J DIY Supergroup competition
Now,
as well.
my friend Sai is actually a musician, a fantastic one too. He makes highly technical. He makes high tech. Have you heard high tech?
Is it like EDM?
It's very fast.
Ooh.
It is. I'm gonna
What
get
BPMs we talking, Sai?
now. I'm very interested in algorithmically generated music. So we've seen machine learning, right? Can we teach computers to make music?
I think we could teach computers to make music, but I don't think that computers. I think computers. The thing about
180 BPM
I'm not sure if computers will ever have like originality. I mean, with computers.
I'm gonna play you something. You tell me whether it's a computer or whether it's a human.
I think we know it's already a computer.
Oh, really?
But I've studied this as
Okay.
well. We studied anyway.
Let's have a, we're gonna listen to this. That's an ad.
Sai, that's a high BPM. Wow.
180 to 200 BPM.
That's crazy. So it's like it's like
Okay.
Yeah, it's quite fast.
that move like
This. Human or machine?
Hold on. I think probably a machine.
That was a human.
Oh.
I mean, I think like what they're using samples and they've chucked that into, you know.
I feel like with the reason I said machine. Sorry,
Yeah, go.
But the reason I said machine is that, I mean, I guess with humans, like we make mistakes. And
Very interesting.
And with our originality, like we're able.
Can a machine make a mistake?
I think it's unlikely to find a. I mean, machines can sometimes make mistakes. I mean, obviously, like with calculators, like you can always like
trick it into doing the wrong thing, right?
Yeah, but I think with humans, the great thing about humans is that like our originality allows us to like it was just very basic, but with a machine, I don't think it'd be able to like there's a musician, Jacob Collier, which I really like, but like he's so experimental with the way he makes his music, and like or just people are able to kind of dive into these different areas of music that aren't explored as much as just general. But with a computer, I think a computer would usually Collier as well too, but I think computers making music, they probably make.
I don't think it would sound that good.
Let's have a listen.
I think
Let's have a listen to a machine. This is Emily Howe. So Emily Howe is an AI musician.
Cool.
This is called track 1.
So keen to hear this.
Let's have a listen.
Can you turn it up?
I'm trying my best.
Sorry.
Listen in, come in. Sounds like
This
classical.
is all piano, right?
Yeah, so basically,
And so it was really quiet, but actually
They-
sounded like human music.
one of the tricks when they're, as you said, making mistakes is something that's important to music. In classical, it's a highly structured music, so it's easier for us to get AI to make classical music than it is to make jazz or something like that, right?
Yeah, but like
Yeah.
with that, when you heard that, when they're doing that, there's little to no error. Well, there was no error as what I could hear.
It was basically like arpeggiated piano
Yeah,
chords.
but the thing about like you'll find in some, I mean, not just classical, but other songs. There's a song I can't. I think it was Big Steps, or some song. But the thing about it was the humans playing it, they couldn't keep up, so you could hear little mistakes made. And so that's the great thing about like we make mistakes generally humans make mistakes in anything, and so just to be able to, I think mistakes allow us to be more creative and just generally original. I think that AI will never be able to be kind of as creative as humans, because
what if we program the AI to make as many mistakes as humans?
So what I studied in my music degree, which I love to pull out every now and then, is that we, as humans, we've done studies, we actually prefer to hear the mistakes that are within, so when humans play drum beats, we're slightly out of time, even if that's a minuscule of a second. Yeah, so even though you can have the best drummers, they will still not be playing, the exact same distance of time apart every new beat. But hold on, so then when you get computers to do it, they'll time every beat perfectly. But we actually prefer to hear the human version, so our ears actually don't really like the machine version, and we think we're like, why is that? But we think it has something to do with the human heartbeat.
Really?
Yeah, and how that can change. It's not constant.
What about if there was a Neanderthals drummed like machines, and we hated them, so we killed them all?
That's why we got rid of them.
And now we're like, those bastards, they're so perfect.
Yeah.
Because they have bigger brains than us.
Oh.
Yeah, Neanderthals have bigger brains.
Like
physically bigger brains. So we're about 1.2 liters space in our head, right?
But hold on.
Neanderthals had like 14 or 1.4.
Yeah. Oh, that's a lot. Men have bigger brains than women, but then you always hear
that.
But women.
So
men have bigger brains than women. That's the same. But then women have more brain activity than men. So I wonder if it's the same with Neanderthals. Maybe they had bigger brains, but we've got bigger brain.
Maybe they had bigger brains and bigger activity, but they just didn't have bigger sticks.
It could have been down to the sticks.
Could be down
for
to
sure.
the sticks.
Now I'm sorry to interrupt you before. What were you going to say?
Sorry, I interrupted you. But just something that I find, like, just talking about, like, because I use like Logic and FL Studio, those music softwares, that the BPM is always perfect.
Yeah.
So, because like a while ago I started getting into sort of sampling, and one of the.
Did you ever sample your family?
Not yet.
No, not yet.
I like those ones on Facebook where the mum will come in and she'll scream at the boy and be like, "Oi, Eden, go and clean your room," and then he'll take that and he'll turn it into a banger.
Yeah. Go and turn your room. Eden.
It's like the ultimate.
Go and clean your room.
Shh.
But yeah, like I usually I'll go and I have in the past tried like sampling just random sounds, but like in sampling as in sampling older songs like experimental songs from the 70s, 80s. And the thing about it, or like getting drum breaks, or just trying to get a sample I like, it'll sound so perfect. But the hardest thing is actually getting it to work with the BPM, because the thing is that it's
We can't alter the BPM of the original drum beat, right?
Yeah, well, you can, but it's just really hard to get it to match the BPM without kind of having to like alter it a lot by like chopping it up. Some of the things I do is like I'll just chop up bits of it so that it'll work with it. But with some songs, it's so hard to get it to actually to work with a beat, even if the beat's kind of slightly.
Do you play an instrument?
Yeah.
What instrument do you play?
Drums.
Do you think the computer is an instrument?
I think if the computer would be an instrument, then I'd say humans would be an instrument, which we are in the fact that we can use our voice for music. And I'd say you could say a computer is an instrument, but a computer allows us to access like the ability to kind of.
I think the computer is like every instrument in a way. Do you want to hear? I have an idea for a musical instrument. It is the most cooked instrument anyone in the human race has ever come up with. Have you heard of circuit bending?
I heard about. I saw some video of this Japanese band, and they were
The barcodes.
and they were changing it with the thing.
So circuit bending is in the similar vein of insane musical instruments. What you do is you get a kid's musical instrument, right?
Yeah.
And there's a circuit in there, an electronic circuit that makes sound. What you do is you start rewiring it so it makes sounds it shouldn't make.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you said there's the electricity, like what's making the sound?
Well, all sound is made by one chip.
Okay.
And what you send into that electrically will be turned into sound.
Okay.
The output is a speaker. Whatever you send in gets turned into sound, and the output is a speaker, right? So basically there's some chip. And everything, basically after that, anything, a computer, a drum kit, whatever you put in there, it just converts it into sound. But you have to work out what goes in there, right?
Okay.
So if you have Mary Had a Little Lamb, you can modify the circuit so it plays it slower or faster or in a different pitch by changing the way the electricity goes into the sound chip.
Okay.
Theoretically, hold on 1 second. I'm just going to quickly read this comment because it's long. Musically, we cannot make mistakes. Structure is good, but have you ever spent 5 hours going... I'm going to reread that. I'm going to reply to that after this thread. So basically with this, I'll get this musical instrument out super quick. Basically, we can do things like touch a circuit and then the music goes through us and it will change the sound that comes out. If we did on Mary Had a Little Lamb, it would probably sound lower because we've added resistance into the circuit.
We're adding our human body
into the circuit.
into the circuit.
That's circuit bending.
Wow.
You can put manual wires in. The forbidden sound. In any musical circuit, it contains potentially every sound in the universe.
Wow.
I agree. Now, so my invention. Tell me what you think, Max. Would you buy this? $300. It's a keyboard, but inside the keyboard, a synthesizer, right? Where all the circuits are, there's cockroaches, thousands of cockroaches. And when you push the buttons, it makes the sound, but it also switches a light on. That means the cockroaches run around, making mistakes randomly to change the sound. I call it the cockroach box. What do you reckon? Would you buy it?
Why cockroaches? Why not?
Because it's messed up. And also, insects don't have rights. That's basically why. I don't get arrested by RSPCA if I use insects. What would you suggest we should use?
Maybe ants. I don't know.
Ants? Well, and also cockroaches are scared of light. So when I push the button, they run away.
I just the sort of like say if I had the instrument and then I accidentally dropped it and then it breaks up and then all these cockroaches.
Yeah, that's it. That's part of it. You have to be very careful with the instrument. Fragile. Do not break. Cockroaches. Definitely live cockroaches.
Look, I think it's an interesting idea.
You have to feed this instrument. It eats garbage.
I think that.
Oh, here's a good one. Okay, so with a synthesizer, we can actually reprogram it by physically moving bits to change the wave that comes out. Would you get an implant where you could plug your synthesizer into your body so you could change it with your thought or with your movement, change the sound that comes out of a synthesizer?
Probably, because one of the things I find annoying is whenever I'm making a song, I really like I want I have a specific sound that I want to come out of an instrument, of a synthesizer, and so I'll change it around a bit. And so I think that if I was able to get a chip implanted so that I was able to not having just be able to kind of think of the sound that I want and it to get out. I think that would be...
So you translate thought directly into sound.
Yeah.
So, when do you think you'll get... Do you think you'll get a brain-computer interface?
So yes, this is my brother. He is 14. His name is Max. We've got him on today to give us the niche Gen Z perspective on all topics.
Now, so have you seen Elon Musk's Neuralink? You'll be able to Spotify straight to your brain.
Does he have one?
No. A pig has one and a monkey has one, but Elon Musk does not. Elon Musk isn't very good at using his own technology.
Interesting. Both have mutations in one family. Yeah. I know. Look at this. Yeah.
I find that funny that Elon Musk is like coming up with that stuff, but he's not actually using it. Because what does that say about the actual product? Because I mean, like with I was watching that documentary. I mean, this is about social media, but what was it?
We're watching. What's it called? It's on Netflix. It's a social media documentary, and it's
The
called
Social Dilemma.
The Social Dilemma.
And the thing that was the original like inventors of those starting social media apps like Facebook,
Zuckerberg, yeah.
Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. I think those original inventors or creators who worked on it wouldn't let their kids get social media, and I wonder what that says about like that. It means that like if they don't want their kids to use it, then like why would you like? I think unless the person who has created this thing doesn't want to use it, then what does that say about actually
the product?
The
What
product.
is? I'm curious. What do you think about Elon Musk? Do your friends? Does Gen Z like Elon Musk? What do they think about him?
I think Elon. I think Elon Musk is.
He might be
loud.
watching.
The crack when you said that we're like secret
Sorry.
Tic Tac, and then we're like just a little secret.
Hey, 100 messages.
He made 100 messages.
We're gonna dance. You gotta dance to this one. This. There you go.
Yes.
Do you like?
Whoa.
What do you think Elon Musk does well, and what do you think Elon Musk does
He's like,
bad?
no.
I think what he does well is selling. I guess. Well, I guess I'm not good with using like the right terminology. But like Elon Musk was able to, because he knows how to kind of manipulate people into getting his products. Like he was able to sell like what was it, flamethrowers to people.
So he sold solar power to the South Australian government.
Yeah,
That's pretty clever.
I thought that was good of him.
Our friend Gabriel said that Elon Musk is good at gambling, at high tech investment.
Well put.
Oh, and thank you, Emily.
Oh, and also Nosnikta. I don't recall the TNCs, but doesn't a lot of the social media platforms require you agree that you're above a certain age? Yes, but
and we actually had to check that today.
Yeah, so I checked that for Twitch to see if Max would come on. And yes, you're allowed to use Twitch if you're above 13. So it's 14, so it's all good.
Probably not the greatest idea, but you know.
Here he is.
And what do you think Elon Musk does badly? Do you think Elon Musk's evil?
I think that Elon Musk is a bit too full of himself. Like there was that one incident where the kids that were stuck in that cave, and he came up with an invention to help with the kind of
the submarine to go and save them.
Yeah, the submarine, and then he called the person that denied that or that rejected the idea a pedophile, and so he's smart, but he's
like
also
a little kid, right?
He's a bit of a dick.
Yeah.
Just to put it plainly, like he's full of himself. He is helping the future, but he's quite full of himself.
Sai says Elon Musk's not a flamethrower. It's the greatest investment I missed out on. So true. And because the thing is, he kept saying, and that was how he could get it shipped across countries, is because it wasn't actually a flamethrower. It was just some sort of like almost like a water gun with the fire on it. So it actually doesn't classify. It wasn't actually a flamethrower. So he was right. But the marketing, everyone wanted it because it's like flamethrower. What? And then Peter says, random fact, once Elon Musk couldn't find a job anywhere, now number 1 in Forbes net worth list. Isn't that the case for so many,
Now, Musk is interesting. So I actually quite like Musk. I think he's a bit of a dick. But I think that his heart is in the right place. And I think that Elon Musk is a product of America. that you can't hate him for being like a lot of people hate on him. And I think that
he's not American.
Yeah, isn't he like South African?
South African, but he's the American dream, right?
He is.
So he moved to America. He immigrated to America and then became wildly successful there. And the idea of the libertarian America is that anyone can make it big. Like, you know, Vegas epitomizes this, right? You could walk into Vegas with $1 and walk out a millionaire the next day. You can walk in a millionaire and lose it all in one day. And the foundation of the country is that the freedom of law and support, little government, allows for these opportunities, right? So Elon Musk, you know, immigrated to America and then became, you know, the most richest person there, whatever, basically, Forbes #1. And this means that anyone can do it, even you. And if you haven't done it, then maybe you're just not working hard enough, right? And this is the what they're trying to sell you, is this thing, and that's why he's like hoisted up so high. But I think Elon Musk is very passionate about helping the world in his own way. But I think he's a product of America. It's not his fault that he succeeded in America. Like Jack Ma is a product of China, right? You can love or hate Jack Ma, but you can't hate him for being successful when the rules of the game were set a certain way. These people are playing the game very, very well. They're very lucky. They're very privileged. You know, part of the rule might be that you have to be a man, unfortunately.
Yeah,
but
I think so,
the thing is, by taking advantage of all those things along the way, I don't really blame him. I think he just played the game very well and was very lucky and probably had a very big head start.
I've talked to female politicians and they're like, if you want to get ahead in politics, you've got to go to the pub lunches with all the guys constantly. You've got to drink beer and you've got to sit there, and if that's how you really make deals in that, you know, in politics, and that's how
sexy people who work at the ABC.
What a nightmare! Oh my god! And just how just all the sort of all that sort of activity that you have to do. And it's all about, you know, forging connections and blah blah blah. And Jonathan Wood says that's why DEFCON is in Vegas.
That's right. Now, Gabriel has said something bold, controversial, that Hyperloop is the one thing that Elon Musk supports that is not up to par with his other endeavors. I'm going to beg to differ on that. I think Hyperloop might be the most important thing that Elon Musk's ever done.
Oh,
what is Hyperloop?
Do
you remember? Do you know what a Hyperloop is? Imagine.
Before you tell us, so it's like a loop, right? And it's hyper, so hyper speed, and maybe it's transport. What do you think? What is it? Like, if we had to guess just from the name. Hyperloop.
And the fact Meow loves it.
Yeah.
You know, I think that if you get things like Dogecoin, I don't know what the fuck it is.
Yeah.
Like,
sorry.
Alright, what is it?
Like,
it's pneumatic tubes for cars.
Okay. Oh, so Hyperloop. So it does make sense. It is travel. It's at hyper speed, but it's for cars.
Yeah. So basically, he's drilling holes in the ground now, and then when cars go through it. Yeah, you know, we've already got tunnels. Why is that exciting? Okay.
Doesn't it allow them to go like at super speed?
Super speed. And
yeah,
the reason is no friction with the air. So the air, when you're on a motorbike, you feel it pushing against you. What about if there's no air? You could just push the cars and they just zoom forever. They never slow down.
Wow. But how does the body do in that sort of velocity?
You have to get your little scuba suit on.
Right.
You know?
But do you have to have some equipment to?
If you're on a motorbike, you would die in there. Unless you had your scuba suit on.
But what if you're
But I can't open my window.
You can if you're wearing a scuba suit.
What about if you turn on like the air recycling in the car before you go in?
It all gets sucked out.
This is why it's not going to work, because dudes love their cars. They love riding it. They love their engines. They love rolling down the window. They love flexing.
What about if we use it as a replacement for trucks on roads, somewhere between what trains were supposed to do?
So it's more like service oriented.
And like dead bodies, we can put them in there, shoot them around. What about like shopping, groceries? What else? What else could we put in there? What doesn't need to breathe, but we need to transport all the time?
Water. Sorry, go on.
Well,
sewage, poop tube. Yeah.
Okay, so wait, and the Hyperloop is for all these things, or he's just developing it? Yeah.
Well, I think he, as you said, he's clever about selling things, right? Yeah. So what he does is he tries to invent a case that everyone will be okay with, but that's maybe not what he's actually doing. Like, his real use for the brain chip is probably sex slaves, right? And his real use for the Tesla car probably is to sell solar panels, and his real use for the flamethrower is probably something else. You know what I mean? Like, he's generally got an ulterior motive. Maybe he already has an ulterior motive for the boring company in the Hyperloop that we just don't know what it is.
Right, he's actually an evil mastermind.
He wants to efficiently transport cocaine directly from Colombia to Bondi Junction.
Oh, here's Bondi Junction in mind. It's the vacuum maintenance. They aren't there yet. Last I saw was them messing with an airplane body.
Interesting. But he also made, correct me if I'm wrong, Gabriel, he made all of their technology open source, but he's not going to charge anyone for using the technology. So he patented it, but he said anyone can use it. So if we wanted to, we could make a baby Hyperloop here and test it out. He just wants to have this technology being used more.
Yeah, well, I think I'm not sure about Elon Musk's motives, but I feel like some of his motives are just so he can kind of, like, improve the world just generally without making a profit. I mean, the thing about, I'm not sure what I heard about the solar panels in South Australia, where he, like, was able to, what was it, did they create, like, with the boring foundation or something?
So they basically, in South Australia, it's a big power grid of solar panels, and the great thing is that he said if it's finished development by a certain time, the government has to pay for it.
Yeah.
And he's I think it's on time. So
he did a really good job. He's very good at delivering on those technologies. Coal. Maybe we could transport coal that way, or maybe coal
just into the bin.
Into the bin. The big South Australian battery. So I actually...
Yes. Big South.
Coal is interesting if we plant enough trees and then when they're grown, we push them back down a mine, coal is actually solar power. I should work for the Liberal government, I swear.
Wait,
I can spin that. Well, what is coal, right? Coal is trees from a long time ago.
Yeah.
And they got compressed.
Yeah.
And then we burn them, because compressed wood is better than normal wood. And then it makes carbon dioxide and light. And then, if we grow more trees, it turns carbon dioxide and light back into wood. And we put it down the mine, it goes back into coal. So that's solar power with extra steps.
Solar power.
And I've said this to the Liberal government, hire me to be your spin doctor. I can sell this. And they said...
What a wild card you would be.
Yeah, and you know what they say? We don't need you to sell it. People vote for us anyway because they hate the climate or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, guys... Don't you want to know what Gen Z thinks about climate change? That's funny. We've just been drawing secret pictures. But, I mean, like, yeah, what do you think about it? Are you scared? Are you, like, chill? What are you feeling about climate change?
About climate change? I'm fucking terrified.
Oh, really?
Well,
when do you think it's all going to go tits up?
I don't know, to be honest. You know, like, I don't know what's gonna happen. I mean,
none of us know, but we're gonna make wild predictions here. Do you reckon you'll be fine in 1 year?
I just don't know. It's something. It's a big problem, and actually, I mean, a lot of kids in my generation have been going to
the protests.
The protests. I mean,
do you talk about climate change with your friends?
Yeah, we talk about climate change, but the funny thing is at my school, one of the head science teachers doesn't believe in climate change.
Interesting.
Wow. Hey Greg, what's up? Welcome to the stream. Your friends go to like climate marches and protest even on their own. I was really surprised. I think it's really cool and it's really good. But just that they had that independent thought that they were like, no, I'm gonna go and stand up for what I think's right. Hey Greg, so we are talking about lots of different modern topics. Today we've got my brother in, and he's offering a Gen Z perspective on different issues. If you've got a question, but we talk about everything, mainly science and tech related.
Now, we're gonna talk. We might just talk space super quickly as well. So when So during your lifetime, or how old do you think you're going to live until? Honestly, what do you think?
Probably 30, maybe.
What?
30.
I remember in year 7, I had a friend that was always like.
Do you think 30's old?
Not really.
Good.
No, 30 isn't old. But I had a friend in year 7 who was always really pessimistic, and he was always talking about these really scary climate change facts. And he made at one point I was like just so down because like I thought that I was gonna live until like I only had like 5 years left. I mean, I might only have 5 years left, but like it's so scary, and it's so annoying that I've been that like this older generation has left us with like all this shit that apparently we're supposed to clean up. Like they don't even want to clean up for themselves. And so it's up to us to actually do something. And when we're trying to do something, they're going like, oh.
I'm gonna live forever just to spite them.
Yeah,
because I think spite overwhelms my pessimism.
Yeah,
Did you know?
yeah. I agree. Your spite drives you like a nuclear power.
That's right.
It's unstoppable.
So I think so with Neuralink, one of the ideas is that we can upload our brains and live forever in the cloud. I can be still making memes 800 years from now.
But will the cloud be around if like climate change is so bad that I don't know,
servers turn off,
or something happens where like a meteorite goes and blows something up? I'm not sure. But
yes, Greg, the brother is quite mature. I really feel like you're far more mature than I was at 14 and super woke.
Gen Z question: do you talk to your parents about who they vote for and why they are? Oh, I lost that. Why they are voting in that direction, and do other Gen Z kids?
And you don't have to say who they're voting for. Just
do you ever talk with your parents about politics?
Yeah, I talk with my parents about politics. Where
do you talk with your friends about politics?
Sometimes we'll talk about politics. Usually when it comes up to major political events, like the U.S. election, when that was happening. The whole day at recess and lunch. I mean, even in the bathrooms where kids were on their phones, we're checking
getting gastro.
Yeah, checking like the polls of who was winning, and so yeah, we're very informed about
Is politics important to you?
Politics is important to me because of the fact that a lot of our governments worldwide aren't doing enough for real problems. I mean, like with climate change, like Scott Morrison is. I'm
concerned.
I'm just concerned, just generally, because I feel not a lot is being done. I mean, you get little things of like don't be a tosser, pick up the rubbish. Like yeah, that's good, but picking up rubbish isn't just gonna stop us from like dying in like 20 years.
No.
Like we've got to do a lot more, and I think people turn it into a political thing, and it's a general fact. And as you said before, I was having a conversation with you before we turned on the stream that it started like kind of like. It was just because people profit off.
That's right. It's very cheap it's very profitable to destroy the environment. Now, quick rapid fire questions.
So many comments. Yes.
What was the one that just went? What video game worlds do you want to live in?
Yeah, because is the cloud going to be like Ready Player One? So what video game world are we gonna? What do you want to be in? Which one? I think I know.
Probably Fallout.
Yeah.
I love Fallout 2. Fallout's my favorite.
Is it? Which one?
All of them. I've been playing Wasteland 2 at the moment because Wasteland 3 just came out, so I like games that age a bit. But Fallout 1, 2, Tactics, 3, New Vegas, and I haven't played 4 or later. So on Fallout 76, I haven't played yet.
Yeah.
They're gonna age a bit, 5 to 10 years.
Dude, we've got like in your room the Fallout helmet. It's so big.
There's so many questions.
It's like that.
You're being bombarded. We've got to quickly race through.
So
what anime is big at your school?
Anime is big at my school. I don't know lots of animes. I guess Attack on Titan, that stuff. I mean,
we've been watching Attack on Titan. Please no reveals. Please, we're up to season 2. Who's my favorite character?
No, I'll be in season 2.
Oh wait,
I haven't watched it yet.
Season 2.
So good, so good.
I'm gonna have to watch it.
So
we love it.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on overpopulation? We're gonna rapid fire.
I think I've had some chats about overpopulation, and I think that we are becoming a bit too. Maybe I think there probably should be like a more of a thing on like just getting people to realize that like just because you don't have children in your lifetime doesn't make your life less as like
Cool.
like as
Valuable. Yeah.
Some people are okay just as aunties or uncles or brothers or sisters. They don't have to be
love
parents. And also, I think that there's maybe we can get rid of some of the less popular people. So like the boomers, like they're just taxing us, right? So if we get rid of them, we can make way for more young, cool people.
But what I also think is that
Hunger Games.
But what I think is that like with overpopulation, like I mean you don't have to stop having babies. What you can do instead is we should have more adoption instead of like because I think that although that I think everybody at some point kind of would like the idea of having like their own biological child, but if you really want to be a parent, then that stuff shouldn't matter. I mean, getting like adopting, like it's just sorry.
It's okay.
You're right.
You have been talking for about an hour. This is his first time ever talking live on a stream, anything filmed. You've been doing an amazing job.
Soylent Boomer. What about if we take boomers, we execute them, we donate their property to the state to be given to poor people, then we mince them up, turn them into patties, and we eat the boomers because it's good for the environment.
That means our parents,
grandparents, parents, somewhere.
Our dads are boomers.
But is that generalizing that all boomers are bad?
All boomers, yeah.
All boomers.
Meow
all
believes
boomers.
that all boomers have
Sorry,
ruined the
Mum.
economy.
What about
Sorry,
David
Dad.
David Attenborough?
Boomer.
David.
You know what? Feed him. He exploits wildlife, flies around the globe in his plane, pumping out emissions everywhere, not caring about it.
Environmental terrorist.
You know what? I think do a Steve Irwin, feed him to the stingrays. Yeah. That's what he should do. If he really cared about the planet, he should dive in and let it kill a whale chomp him.
Simba, welcome. Overpopulation only exists in undeveloped countries. Right. Yeah, alright, guys, just like a quick thank you to Max because you have been explaining yourself really well, and, you know, I know that you don't like public speaking, so you've been doing a great job at explaining yourself.
Because although, like, I don't know how many, like, viewers are viewing at this moment.
Oh.
Like, but I mean...
Don't send him to bed. You've got protests.
So, I'm sorry, I'm sending you to bed.
I mean, like, I guess I can talk in front of 100 people if it's online, but talking in front of, like, 10 people, like in person, that's a nightmare.
Oh. You know what you should do is just take the screen and put it over your head so it looks like you're looking at a screen.
Yeah.
And then when you give a presentation, it's like you're over Zoom, but it's just a little window. Maybe you can make glasses that make it look like you're looking at a screen.
Well,
Gabe's mum would totally do that because she's a very cool boomer. My dad said that he understands that he's part of the problem because it's a generational thing. It's like not all men. Well, most
It
men.
was one of yours.
That's right. That's right.
Great
So you
comment.
kind of can't be like, well, you know, I'm just not going to save my parents or something.
Gabriel says you've got 15 here, man. Guys, I'm getting 10 more minutes before I send him to bed.
Okay, awesome. And then we're going to check with them too. Also, if you have Twitch, please go and join, because when we have 100 people, we can start to commercialize our channel, which will open up all sorts of fun options. We're going to have Max on again. There was... he was going
do
to
it
ask...
for me.
There we go. Also, two people asked whether I've watched Evangelion. I have not. I'm going to power watch it.
You can put it on your
I'm going to put it on here.
Guys, we even had topics today, but your questions are so brilliant. I am always trying to like pull information out of this boy's mind because he makes me really excited about like your generation. You're so clued in about, you know, like transgender rights and sexism and climate change.
You're much more woke than we were.
So much more woke. And it's not like I've fed you these ideas. You've really come through with them yourself. They're your own values.
One of the things that kind of helps is that, like, I wasn't raised with religion. And so it's like I feel like religion hasn't occupied all of my time, and so in that time I instead kind of focused on that. And I mean,
Do you think certain aspects of technology fulfill parts of religion? Or would you say Instagram is semi-religious? You can say no as well.
I guess, like, if you're talking about, like, different aspects of Instagram are religious, because it's like people kind of become, like, gods to other people.
Yes, influences.
And religion plays, like, things like church, for example, they're about much, much more than believing in a supernatural deity. They're about virtue signaling by going along and saying, I'm the most pious, I'm the most religious person, or I'm dressed the best, or something like that. So there's certain social obligations that are fulfilled. Things like Shabbat for Jewish people is a tradition that binds their whole faith together. So every Friday they all meet and light candles and have dinner together and talk. And this is very important glue that holds, not just their religion but their culture outside of religion together. And things like Instagram become methods for communication or ranking each other that fulfills some kind of similar roles. Do you think Billie Eilish is the voice of your generation?
We have many thoughts going.
I guess probably because I mean she's very, very, very popular, and she's not conservative, and she actually is kind of I guess more concerned and woke about these things than say other celebrities would be.
Do you think it's important for celebrities to be woke?
Yes, I do think so, because it allows them to use their audience to use their audience so that they can
use their fame to get their audience to behave a certain way. Which is very interesting, because this is relatively new, and it's something that's come about with the internet, right? Because before the internet, opinions of sports people or celebrities can't get transmitted as quickly. They have a big platform, but generally, like, you would only hear about it in a magazine or something like that, and you would have to be particularly interested in that. There's no fact checking or anything. But now that the people with large reach can speak directly with people, their opinions and how they use that to get that interaction to do something useful is actually important.
For real. Max and I actually have a joke. Oh, can we turn up the volume? Okay, we've got another 7 minutes.
I'll see if we can. Hi, Angela.
Hey, Angela.
I think that might actually be full volume, but we can.
Okay, let's just jump in for the last few minutes. Max and I have this joke about Billie Eilish's brother Phineas, and they work together.
What's his name?
Phineas.
Phineas.
But we call him Brother Eilish.
Brother Eilish.
I don't know how our joke started, but we're like, oh, Brother Eilish just produced this song. It sounds really good. Yeah, it is a bit quiet. I've got on super loud. Thank you guys. We appreciate you turning it up so you can hear us.
Thank you very much. And soon we've had like lots of people on this stream. Soon we're going to brand our channel, and we're going to get some equipment to make this even better. And start introducing some Twitch stuff. The next 2 weeks I'm going to be busy because I'm moving house. So Michael Jackson, We Are the World. So Michael Jackson probably died before you were born.
No.
No?
He died in 2009, and I was about 3. But I did go through an embarrassing Michael Jackson phase.
Not embarrassing.
Is it embarrassing?
Not embarrassing. Really cool.
Because he was quite socially active, but he also was very, very strange. But as a character. But yeah, he did the We Are the World, and the Beatles, I guess, who from our parents' generation were very, they were very clean-cut conservative, and then they went to India, took lots of drugs, and joined the hippie revolution, created part of the hippie revolution, and then they started becoming very active. They started, John Lennon sang Imagine and all this stuff.
I love this. Make a bedroom. Lushess and Max should team up and make music. Make a bedroom album and claim to be homeschoolers. I love it. What branding? That's so cool.
Yeah.
We'll be like, we learned in the garden and the trees and the dirt. They taught us everything that we know.
I actually had a friend who was a snail. His name was Kevin, and he taught me music theory.
Nice. All right, guys. I think we're gonna wrap it up now. Because we have to go brush our teeth and head to bed. Meow, we call with
I heard it's Taco Tuesdays tonight.
Right.
I was told.
Right.
So every time after the stream, if we're at Lucy's house, I have dinner here, and if Lucy's at my house, we have it there. So I'm gonna have a little snack. Thanks everyone for joining us today, and big thank you to Max for joining us, our resident Zoomer.
He's never done this sort of thing before, but he's had to explain all his points of view rapid fire, and he's articulated that really well for a 14-year-old. You know, in comparison to us who just talk about ourselves all the time, me and Meow. So yes, well done, Max. Thank you guys for these comments and these questions for Max. Super appreciate it. Max
and thanks for contributing so much, everyone, this week. Your questions and comments were awesome. We really love it. Max is going to tell all of his friends to tune in next week. I want the comment section to be flooded with Zoomers.
All right.
I need to work out.
Okay, but the thing is, it's going to be full of trolls then. Everyone's going to be like, it's going to be troll
Worse
heaven.
troll than me. Like, bring it.
True. Love that.
Thanks, Peter. Peter's doing some awesome work. Sheesh.
You have to put an emphasis on the eesh part.
Sheesh. Wait. Bring him in.
Sheesh.
No, but you have to say it longer. Like.
Show us.
Oh, sorry. Do it right. No, stand up. This is all right. This is our exit moment.
Sheesh.
Hey, sheesh. I'm gonna whoa. Yes.
On that, and we'll see you guys next week, 7:30.